So let's go over it again. So in the beginning there was nothing. Nothing. You need to know this. Nothing. No wars, no thinking, no coping, no managing, no intention, no goals, no nothing. Zero, 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 zero. And this is where we want to go. We want to go back to the origin. This is the origin of your being. Zero. And so I'm going to take the mind and turn it around sideways now, so you get to see the mind sideways. So here's the mind sideways. And this is zero. So I've taken the board and put it this way. So this is zero. This is you. I want you to be clear. You as zero do nothing. Can we say that again? You as zero just is. Like this. And then when God goes, hello, you go. Now, when the data plays called memory, you go, oh, dear. But when the data plays, so I want you to know data is king. Data is queen. Data governs. You are not in charge. When the data plays, you follow. So I'm going to give you a reference if you want to take a look at it, called User Illusion. Joe Vitale? Where's Joe? Joe, can you explain the kind of the stuff where we're talking about we don't make decisions, please? So I'm going to ask Joe, but here's a book called The User Illusion. And ultimately, the consensus, the summary of this, the work on consciousness, is you don't decide anything. You don't decide to get sick. You don't decide to get cancer. You don't decide all that. It's decided for you. So maybe Joe can tell us a little bit about it.
I'll try. This is a fantastic book. Can I hold it up for a second? And I do reference it in Zero Limits. So some of you, how many have already read this, The User Illusion? Some of you wouldn't get it. It's absolutely fascinating because it's pointing out that what you think is in control, your conscious mind, your intellect, your personality is not really in control at all. And in fact, there have been some tests, one of them by Benjamin Levitt, who did a test that pointed out that when you have a decision to reach for something, like I'm now reaching for this Pepsi can, that conscious decision actually began on a below conscious level. When it entered my mind, I took credit for it, and I said, oh yeah, I'm going to reach for her can because right now it feels like a great example of how I'm consciously controlling my circumstances, and it seems like this is a good thing to do. All of that took place before it was in my conscious mind. First of all, that's pretty eye-opening in itself, that what you think is your intention. Now, I'm a guy who's taught about the intention. I'm in the movie The Secret talking about the power of intention. I've written books about the power of intention. I now think intentions are old news. I now think intentions are a fool's game, and intentions in many ways are limitations. So first of all, if I have an intention for something, it bubbled up out of something deeper than my conscious mind. If I take credit for it, that's the user illusion. I think I own that. I think, wow, I came up with this wild intention for some business, some product, some book. That wasn't the case at all. It came from something deeper. The real question for me that gets very interesting is, where did it come from? So if an intention, an idea, a thought, actually this is one of my favorite things to do. I ask people to stop for a moment and consider, can you predict what your next thought is going to be? There isn't a single person who can. Those thoughts are just bubbling up. Where are they coming from? If you take credit for them, you've fallen for the illusion. If you sit there and wonder where they're coming from, which is where I think is a good place to be, then you end up wondering, did it come from memory, programs, data, or did it come from the divine inspiration? And at that point, the only thing to do, and believe me, this is all I'm left to do with, is to clean. I'll give an example. When I was going to be on Steve's TV show, we rented a car and Narissa drove because I wanted to relax and be focused and save my energy for the show itself. And as we're driving there, suddenly something bubbled up that said, you should move here. I hadn't even told Narissa this because I kind of put a clamp on it. I said, I don't want to hear that. Moving costs a lot of money. It's a big energy drain. I got a lot of things going on. I don't want to hear this. The last time I was in Maui, I heard the same thing. I spent several of my days here looking at houses, which I could have been at the beach working on my tan. So, driving along, and I was in a pretty meditative space. I was very relaxed. I wasn't doing the driving. I wasn't focused on that. I had already met Steve. I was comfortable with Steve. So it was just a matter of going over there, doing the song and dance in front of his camera. So the thoughts are bubbling up. If I take credit for the idea, I got this great idea. I should move to Maui, and I can open a business here. I could move all of my business here. I could do all kind of wonderful things here and seminars here. User illusion. I didn't have that idea at all. It came from this depth. My question for myself right now is, did that come from inspiration, or did that come from the program that was thinking Maui is a cool place to live, year-round beautiful weather? I mean, there's all kind of rationale, all kind of logic I could use. So the only way for me to remedy that right now is, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. Constant clearing till I can say with some sort of degree of certainty that was an inspiration. That help?
Maybe they want some questions.
Question about that?